Discover College Soccer podcast is sponsored by VIO. VIO is the #1 AI camera solution helping players capture college recruitment videos. Check out their new starter and family options by clicking on the link in the description or visit Discover College Soccer to learn more. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Jamie from Stetson University here in Florida. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks, mate. Morning. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Glad to have you on. I think I may have seen you on the field at some of these ID camps around the state here over the last 6 months, or that's you took over the program back in January, right?
Yeah, back early January. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind ever since. And yeah, you probably would have done. I've been out pounding the pavement recruiting and doing that good stuff. So no doubt, I'm sure we'd have bumped into each other. We'd have seen me from afar. Yeah,
Yep,
trudging the field somewhere.
exactly. Well, speaking of recruiting, we're talking just after June 15th. So just out of curiosity, how busy were you over the weekend making calls, or have you been really focused more on the 25s? Kind of what's your mindset in terms of the calendar and when you're talking to people and that whole thing?
Yeah, it's been a challenge actually because I was actually working University of Tampa's ID camp. Speaking about recruiting, so I was on the field for 12-hour days, but managed to squeeze in a couple of calls here at lunchtime or straight after the ID camp, and then subsequently the last couple of days, been on a couple of really positive phone calls as well. And but yeah, my initial focus really was on the 2025s when I first took the role. To really be really proactive with that class after kind of quickly establishing what we had currently in the building. But in regards to 2026s, yeah. Straight on it, identified, hopefully a lot of local talent, but then maybe looking a bit more further afield around, the other states that we have here in this country. But yeah, still very much on it, being proactive and having those initial conversations and starting the journeys with a few players and a few really exciting players. And we'll see how they end up because obviously you don't get them all, but hopefully you get one or two that will make a difference.
Yeah, for sure. Well, just out of curiosity, as somebody who's coming in January, right? You're you're assessing obviously the roster that's returning, but the way girls recruiting tends to happen, it tends to be a little more early. So you probably already had a number of 24s committed when you took over. Can you just talk to me about what that process is like in terms of, are those people who are committed, are they are they reaching out asking questions and deciding whether they're going to stay? Are you saying, hey, you know, maybe you're not quite the right fit? Are you still going out and saying, all right, I'm still looking for a few more 24s to fill out that roster? Just give me a little bit of insight into what's going through your mind when you're taking over at that time of year.
Yeah, I think every college is different, it has different expectations and different expectations about how you might manage that situation. Um, yeah, so the line is with us is that we're going to still take on the players at that point because it's second half of their senior year and it can be a challenge then to try and then find another program at that stage. Not that anything's too late; everyone has their own journey, and if the 2025s are still uncommitted now, clearly there's some great players out there. Um, you know, as you go into the new year, you'll be absolutely fine if you're not committed at that point. But a real so some of them I knew of from just being in the state of Florida and being around, and then some that I didn't know of. I managed to get some film on, and then we had some kind of honest conversations with around where the program's going to and how they may fit into that, and what that will look like moving forwards. But absolutely not telling anyone to leave. But that is not who I am. I want to work with the people that we have and. Again, the current players that we have, I haven't, tried to push anyone away or anything like that. It's been a case of, okay, I really back myself as a coach to improve people and develop people. And it's been a case of, okay, you guys will come in, be part of the team. We will have some honest conversations, as I think it's so important during the recruiting process. But then once the players, you're in with the players that you have, you're very upfront and honest and obviously respectful, and you acknowledge where might need work or what that might look like and the timeline and pathway to play. That's something I always say. Do you have a pathway to play here? And if you are going to play here, then maybe X, Y, and Z need to be improved, and this is how you might do that. But in terms of picking up some late recruits, well, late I say late in January of the senior year, there was a handful of girls that I had uh, identified when I was in my previous position that maybe we just didn't quite need at the time. Well, again, there was no pathway to play there, but I knew there'd be a good fit for the conference and for our school. So I reached out to those, and we were able to secure a couple of 2024s. And then a couple of transfer students as well that we managed to pick up. One mid-year, right after I took the job, that I knew of previous to from my former school. In her senior year, I recruited her, and she didn't give me any love at the time at Division Two. But now this second time round, she was very interested in coming to play for us at Stetson. And there's a couple more that we were able to achieve. To one that we signed mid-year that's coming in this fall, and then we just picked up from the last window. So yeah, a bit of a blend really in terms of trying to improve, what we have, who we have coming in, and showing them where they can develop, and then trying to add a few bits and pieces, in some areas we might think are a little bit light, or even maybe a different profile of player that we could utilize coming into this fall season.
Okay. Well, you mentioned you were working ID camps there at UT. So how important is the ID camp process for you guys in your recruiting, whether that's your own ID camps or other folks' ID camps?
Yeah, it's massive, and I feel it's on social media at the minute. It's getting a little bit of hate, and look, yeah, I'm sure there's 100% there's programs out there that just are making money off these things. Of course, it's part of it, right? We do make money off of ID camps, but let me tell you this: it's a huge piece because we don't have a massive recruiting budget. For example, going up to Seattle next week, I don't have my own hotel room. I'm sharing, and to make it work, and I'm maybe flying out from a different destination to try and make it work for the program because we don't have a massive recruiting budget where we can just fly to all these events. And I can't be in California this week, for example, at the GA event because the budget just doesn't stretch to us for us to be out there. And I'd love to take my assistant Chloe, but really it's only one of us can go. And so with that in mind. ID camps are phenomenal because we get to actually have hands-on coaching with these players, and we get to know and see their tendencies and their attitude towards each other, and towards us as coach and stuff, and how they receive information. And that up and close look is just it doesn't get much better. Certainly in Division One, you're not allowed to have the tryout system that you have in Division Two, which I utilized massively previously. So it's phenomenal to be able to have that and get those soft skills and get to know kids for who they are. Because part of the thing is, of course, you want to bring good players, but you want to bring good people as well. And you don't always get to be able to do that just from the other side of a screen, or maybe even over a phone call that can be a challenge sometimes. So being able to spend at least one day, but ideally a couple of days with potential recruits is super helpful to kind of check all those boxes. And then from our perspective, we've had two ID camps, one in March, we just had one in May, and we recruited 3 players from them 2 events. And there's an element of identifying these players with 2 of them prior to them coming to ID camp. And one of them was like a happy surprise. Oh, okay, you're here, you're good. Okay, we'll take you. And then, but the other ones was a case of, okay, we identified you in ECNL events or their local girls, and then we recognise that in our ID camp setting, okay, they're great, really coachable, good humans. Okay, we'll move forward. So everyone has their own journey within that, and like I say, sometimes it's a happy accident. You stumble across someone that you think, oh, you're great, you'll do for us. And sometimes it's a case of, okay, checking that last box and finding out, okay, who are they really, and what tendencies do they have, and how coachable are they?
Well, and you touched on it a little bit there, but give me a little bit more into what is it that really makes a player somebody you wanna offer, whether it's more detail around on the field stuff or off the field stuff.
Yeah, coming into a new program, establishing a culture that you want is massively important. So I always say I want to bring good people as well as good players. So just that one thing I would always say is I love people that are consistent, and then obviously hence being able to see people on a few occasions, but then obviously at ID camp, so you get to see their consistency on the field, but then also off the field. Okay, are they interacting with others? What's their process like when a referee gives a decision that they don't like? A teammate shouts at them, how do they respond? When the coach is giving them points, are they giving my contact? At ID camp, when we're coaching, are they giving us eye contact and really trying to put into place what we're trying to say? So we really kind of get that personal piece, but then consistency off the field as well. So okay, well, what are you doing with your spare time? Are you doing extra training? Are you doing extra one-to-one sessions? Are you seeing are you lifting? Are you doing speed and quickness agility sessions with a specialized coach. To find out those things are really, really important to us because, as you know, to be in a successful collegiate soccer program, it doesn't just, it's great, the sort of the training sessions we put on and the film and the lifting is phenomenal. We have, all those things, that full-time environment's brilliant. But actually, sometimes there's some extras that need to be taking place here, and obviously, time away from the program during the summer and winter break. There's some habitual things and standards as a human that you have to do for your college readiness. So trying to find out that early, is this going to be a player that's going to need that extra push in those moments, or are they already doing these things? Like a couple of players, I know we've got coming in are super consistent in the gym. They're doing extra sessions, one-to-one small group sessions and stuff like that, and that's all great for us. And as a player, just always being competitive and intense and working hard. So in for example, a player that come to our last ID camp assigned for this fall, that kid ran and competed and was physical and brave. And they just didn't stop until their body said, with the Florida heat, that I need to take a rest and take a break. And someone that's going to maximize themselves on that and show us that they really, really want to be there. And if they're doing that, away from us during when we were doing talent identification at showcases and events, obviously that's great. But then when they come in and you see them do that and consistently do that, that's something that's really big for us as well. They're going to have that inner drive and that competitiveness and that bravery. And clearly, the physical piece is massively important in collegiate soccer, but then the technical piece, are they going to be able to have the receiving skills, the decision making, the passing range and ability to get the ball off the foot and create passing lanes and being shifty on the ball and everything you look for in your own program, and how you want to model the players and mold the players that you have in your program to fit your kind of game model, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school. I'm lucky enough. I have to drive up that way later this week, so I'm going to roll through campus because I haven't visited. But you've been there 6 months now. You've been at other Florida schools. So what is it about Stetson that drew you to the program? What are some things in your first 6 months you found out that are kind of really awesome about the school?
Yeah, it's a real hidden gem, to be honest. I'm glad it's finally starting to get a little bit on the map with the men's basketball program making March Madness, and our baseball team doing really, really well at the moment, as well as other sports as well. So we're getting a bit of national recognition now. So we're not always going to be the hidden gem. Hopefully here, hopefully we'll become like I think our president said, we want to be a national treasure, which is a pretty good line because we are a bit of a hidden gem. It's a beautiful small campus. A quarter of our student body of student athletes. So we really have that kind of local community feel. The land's a pretty little place, just 30 minutes away from New Smyrna. So the beach is right here, and people think that we're this inland school that's miles away from anything. That's really not the case. Orlando's 45 minutes away. New Smyrna is 30 minutes away. And with a new AD coming in terms of Ricky Ray, he's got some great experience and really gets collegiate athletics as well. So it's a school that's really moving in the right direction, putting effort and into our facilities. And it's really starting to flourish like it's in this year. I think it's been the best year ever in Stetson athletics with some of the things that have gone on. So it's really moving forwards and fast and forward thinking. And obviously, you had the opportunity to come into the women's soccer program and get that up and running and in our vision and try and get that moving forwards is something that's really, really exciting in a place which is really developing and blossoming. And then having mentioned the academics, best business school in the South, and the phenomenal health sciences program, phenomenal law program. It's just a beautiful place, and it's something that gets forgotten about, being a little bit inland here in Florida, where people are used to the beaches right there, and everyone in Florida is a little bit either from like Orlando or from Tampa or Naples or like Fort Lauderdale or Miami or whatever. So they get spoilt. So I think of DeLand being slightly inland as a little bit, all that's inland, but actually for myself from England and internationals and from people out of state, when they come to DeLand, they're like, oh, we have never heard of this school. It's brilliant, and that's really, really nice to be able to kind of start putting us on the map a little bit, because like I said, the Floridian players, and we've got a bunch coming, but the Floridian players sometimes are a little bit DeLand, not sure about that, but actually it's a brilliant place.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the academic side of things, and sometimes that can be, tough for new collegiate enrollees, right? To really balance the demands of being on a Division I soccer program and being stars in the classroom as well. So what support systems does the school offer to help student athletes really make sure they are being successful both in the classroom and on the field?
Yeah, obviously massively important. We have to hang up our boots at some point. Although, I still think I can dust them off and get it done. At some point we do have to hang them up. So yeah, the student piece is massive, and obviously it actually does come first in the word student athlete. Yeah, so one great thing about Stetson is that we do have the smaller um, student to professor ratio. I think average class size 13 to 1, so it's really difficult to slip through the cracks anyway, in terms of your academics. But then also, study hall expectations and weekly hour allotments of that, and some great facilities to go and study in, and support staff of academic advisor and tutoring centers on campus, and obviously meeting with myself as well. It's a big part of my meetings with the players are individual learning plans that we have for each individual. Is okay, how's your academics, how are you getting on, show me your current marks and your grades. Okay, we might need extra a little bit of support here. Okay, let's liaise with that professor, let's get that moving forwards and get that moving up. So really, it's tough. It's tough to slip through the cracks here, because it is such a microscope with being the smaller class sizes, etc. Obviously, when on the road as well, having that close personal relationship with your professor is really important. And obviously, all the professors get advised of when we're going to be away and when we're going to be back. So having that relationship with your professor to have like preset, or do catch up work when you get back. Again, you're not one in hundreds in an auditorium. You're one of 15, 13, whatever it might be.
Okay. Well, let's talk more about the season a little bit. Let's fast forward here a couple months. Let's say you're in October, the heart of that ASUN season. Walk me through what you're envisioning a typical week for a player is going to look like in terms of when our classes, game cadence, practice times, meals, all that stuff. What's a week going to look like?
Yeah, busy, busy. Yeah, I don't think you're ever quite prepared for it. And being a full sport, it's one of the massive challenges, right? Of your players have to come in and be ready and go and hit the ground running. Whereas some of the sports that start later in the semester or the academic year have that little bit of climatization time. So you do have to get going. Yeah. So typically, Mondays are off. Yeah, Tuesdays training, top up running, lifting session, and really lifting for me in the seasons more about resilience and robustness and maintenance rather than feeling sore, because you're going to feel sore from all the sessions and all the games. So yeah, that's all about keeping players on the field, rather than off of it, for sure. And then utilizing our catapult data as well to manage load and see, on a weekly basis how much players are exerting themselves, and do we need to take some people off? Do we need to pull some up for a recovery day, or do we need to push that player to maybe do a little bit of extra, whatever that might look like, just in terms of readiness. So the team that you start the season with is very rarely the team you end your season with. So it's really, really important to always be ready. So that's what that Tuesday looks like. Wednesday will probably be film on us and what we've done well and what we can improve on. And then a training session. Thursday is really, again, a scout report session, and film, and a little light training. I mean, like a jog and stretch, something really just fun and light, because we played that evening. Friday's a really tough day in terms of, again, probably doing top up running for people that might need it, and getting that cardio, and then training, and then lifting session again, just real probably light, super light recovery. And then Saturday, probably a tactical session, and a scout report for our game on Sunday, which is normally at 1 p.m. on a Sunday. And then we come back round again to a Monday, which is obviously completely off from anything soccer related, and all that good stuff. So that's probably a nutshell what a week looks like. Obviously, in the spring's a little bit different, Monday to Friday, 3 lifting sessions maxing out and doing a little bit more there. But then just at the more development time. But yeah, the fall's crazy, it's busy. We'll absolutely look to manage people. Visually, when you get into that October time that you refer, you start to see a little bit more strapping, a little bit more tape all over the place. And sometimes, you might have to take a session off, which might say, okay, we're not gonna train today. You guys are looking absolutely knackered. Let's put you in the pool or whatever, or in the weight room, and let's just try and change it up. So being able to be flexible, I think, is really, really important as well during that time, because when visually the team start to look tired, I think that's where the time where you can, if you're brave to take the session off. I was a little bit of anxiety. They're like, oh, we need to get better. We need to get the ball at the feet, and that is obviously really important. But there's sometimes where you have to put, the visual first, and when players are again starting to get taped up and strapped up, and to kind of take the foot off the gas for a minute is sometimes useful, that mid-season time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in terms of the roster, I mean, is there a roster size that you find is ideal that you're trying to hit?
Yeah, 28 to 32 is what we want to get down to. Um, Being a new staff, there's going to be some we're going to carry an enlarged roster next year, which is going to be a challenge and a challenge to our culture. But we left in a really, really good place culturally. So I hope we will protect that, and obviously clearly we will invite everyone in, but obviously when playing time becomes a factor, that can be a challenge. But again, open honest communications with that sort of stuff is really, really important. But yeah, so we want to get down to that 32-28 size. I think that then you've got a real healthy balance between managing injury and managing expectations in terms of game time and stuff. But being a new staff, it's going to be a bit of a different dynamic for this 1 year. But that's going to be great to have that challenge, and it's going to be exciting for sure.
Well, you mentioned staff. So beside yourself, who are the other staff? What role does everybody play? And maybe what other athletic department staff are there to help with the team in whatever role?
Yeah, we've just hired a new AT, which is really, really exciting. She's worked with professional teams, so we're really, and she's a kind of younger female member of staff as well, which is awesome for the girls to have that relatability. So we're excited to bring her on board. Casey starts real soon, and then we have one of the big things I wanted to do, being a first-time head coach in a women's program, is make sure we have a young female assistant on staff, qualified, obviously. But we got Chloe Marquez from Emporia State, and she was a player there, GA, assistant, acting head coach. And so she has a great amount of experience for her young years. And she's fitted in like a glove. She's gotten really well in terms of administrative tasks, but obviously on the field as well, and building relationships with the girls, which is massively important. So she's done great. She manages our equipment, a little bit of social media. Which is phenomenal. It's been really growing as well. And some of the travel plans and booking hotels and buses and starting to look at places to eat, all that kind of stuff that you don't see when you're just rolling the ball out there to play and training in games. So she's taken on those roles really, really well. Then we've got Cara Haas, who's coming on board from as an assistant coach. She just played 4 years at EKU. So again, someone that has just lived through the experience and wasn't always, and she doesn't mind me saying, wasn't always a starter, wasn't always a big minute player. So I love that she's going to bring that perspective to the group. Okay, it's not always 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. Okay, so when I had this situation, I didn't play well. This is what I did, and I think she'll offer that advice really, really well. So she's going to come on board and again help with our equipment and social media, and she's going to start to learn the inner workings of the collegiate side of the game, which is, this is fast. There's so much admin to learn. And then we've got Owen Jack, who's going to split his time between the two programs. He's a goalkeeping coach. He played for 4 years with Emmett on the men's side as a captain. And then transferred for his like fifth, 6 years, whatever he was doing up at Vermont. And I think they made the Elite Eight last year, so he had that experience at the elite level up there as well. So he's coming back and done a bunch of coaching when he was down here in Florida, so he's experienced as well. And he's going to turn his hand and coach the goalkeepers of both programs. Clearly, his roles and responsibilities is to manage the goalkeeping unit, make sure there's a harmonious atmosphere where the goalkeepers are pushing themselves in training, and you have that that iron sharpens iron kind of mentality in training, that competitive edge. But then whoever's chosen to go between the sticks, the other goalkeepers, and then that player's biggest supporter, and manage that's really, really important. And having those soft skills is massively important. And obviously, he's going to be in charge of their development and managing, getting some film together, which is like best practice film, maybe from the NWSL or film from overseas. Or from women's national team, whatever it might be, and then obviously some film sessions with using our iPad, so we can film our goalkeeping sessions as well. So breaking down that film and the more nitty gritty detail that's required for that position on the field, and kind of managing those guys. And also, he's as an alum, he's going to be in charge of our alumni engagement. And re-engaging the alumni with the program, because I think that's something that may have fell to the wayside a little bit these last few years.
Okay, great. Well, how about you in terms of as the head man there? How would you describe your coaching style, the style of play you're looking to implement there this year?
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away,
Yeah,
but
yeah, you don't have to be too detailed, but
no, 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 you don't mind messing. My coaching style, something I'll continue to develop, something at the core of me as a person, in my former career, and then also now as a professional coach for the last 10 or so years, It's people. I think one of the good things about COVID, not that there were many good things, but one of the good things was all these experts had the time to sit down on podcasts like this and talk about their experience. And one thing that always come back to me throughout that was relationships, people, and once people feel like they're valued, they will do more for you. It sounds simple, right? But it's something that is coming to more of the forefront in soccer coaching nowadays. Gone are the days I think a little bit where it was just all yell, 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 yes sir, no sir, or jump off that cliff. Okay, that's kind of go to the wayside a little bit. So them soft skills are so important now. And being a relationship person and relationship centered person, that falls into the middle of my coaching philosophy. So really knowing the players as they walk up to practice, how are you today? Fist bump, okay. So I can look them in the eye and see how they are today. So I know not to yell at that person, or know that person needs a softer touch today potentially. And then again, people feeling valued and having that time really to get to know the players in the program. Because I do genuinely care about the girls that are in our program. I want to see them do well, whether it's here at Stetson or when they go into leave us to the big wide world. So having those soft skills and those relationships are massively important to me. But in terms of practicalities of coaching, I really have a style that's more like a guided discovery style where um, we put on a session, we can do different constraints, different goals, and I want the player to try and figure it out. I want the players to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to win the game today, to win the practice today? Because one thing we say, well, we're going to compete in training, and if they don't get it or they need help, no problem. I'll step in, move people around, maybe yell at people a little bit to get them where they need to go. That's no problem. I'm not scared of getting in there and coaching, but if I'm holding their hand during training, then they're going to expect that on a game day, and I can't always be there to hold their hand on a game day. Sometimes it's solving the game that's in front of you, and I can't be there to play PlayStation with you and move you, or FIFA and move you around on a game day. You're going to have to solve some things yourself. So creating really good decision makers and training to an intensity and making practice hard is a key for my coaching style. Like I say, see, can you figure it out? If you can't, no problem. I'm going to help you, and we'll get there and we'll get the information and detail that we need into the session. But I'm going to try my best to be hands-on, but hands-on, but hands-off, and allow them to develop cognitively as well as a player.
All right. Well, Coach, you've been super generous with your time. I love the insights. Got one final question for you, and that is for any potential student athlete out there who's going through this recruiting process, if there was one piece of advice you had for them, one thing you think they should know, what would that be?
I think consistency and patience as well. I think in equal measure. So identifying exactly what you want, what you're looking for in terms of location, small school, big school. Obviously, academics massively important. And then being consistent in your approach to them. So reaching out, giving them enough information, not too much, and then some film where it shows some of the key skills for that position. So as a centre back, don't just provide loads of film of you stepping out with the ball under no pressure for 2.5 minutes, passing the ball under no pressure. That's not going to happen in a collegiate game. Very rarely, anyway. Maybe you play for Florida State, maybe, but show you blocking, show you in the air, show you covering ground in behind, covering your outside back or your centre back partner. Show some key skills for your position in your film, and then consistently reach out, but not too much, not like 2 emails in a week or 2 emails in a couple of days. We're very busy. It will take us some time sometimes, certainly during this time. And when we're working ID camps and we have June 15th here, it's a lot, and people are taking vacation and all that good stuff. So just allow them the time to respond. If it's like, a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, then okay, then start reaching back out again and kind of see the interest level. If people are responding to you and giving you time of day, they're probably pretty interested. And get on the phone with you, then certainly they're interested. But just don't feel like you're in a rush. Don't get pressured into a decision that you're not ready to make. Don't take an offer out of fear of missing out on another opportunity, missing out on that opportunity, because there'll be other opportunities if you're not ready. Or if that program really really wants you, they'll wait. They'll wait for you. So, don't get yourself in a situation where you get yourself frazzled and into a commitment too early as well. Sometimes that can be a challenge.
For sure. Well, Coach, really appreciate the time. Wish you the best of luck here in your first season in the fall. I'm sure I'm gonna check out the schedule. Hopefully, being able to see a game in person, and if you ever get over to this side for some of those ECNL events, let me know and we'll get together. All right.
Brilliant, Matt. Appreciate you. Thanks,
All
buddy.
right.
Thanks for your time as well.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's Matt from Discover College Soccer. I hope you're enjoying the podcast, whether that's on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I also wanted to let you know about the Discover College Soccer Study Table. This is our brand new online portal that is complete with a 14-part online course giving you all of the ins and outs of the college soccer recruiting process. There's also a wealth of resources such as checklists, templates. There's the spreadsheets that have every soccer program in the country, along with their coaches, their contact information, their social media information, some basic stats about the school, and more. Plus, there's an online community where you can ask your questions, share your wins, your losses, any questions that you may have around the college soccer recruiting process. It's all there at the Discover College Soccer study table that you can find at discovercollegesoccer.com/study table, and hopefully we will see you there.